Move forward with your life and remember that fear always lurks behind perfectionism. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Club Prayas, the official Inter B School and Corporate Event Club of IBS Hyderabad, I, Anisha Behra, would like to extend a warm welcome to Mr. Gaurav Saxena, sir. I would also like to welcome all participants, our coverage partner, Newswire, and promotional partner, IBS Messenger. This November, the club witnessed Corporate Month 2020 with trifecta of events, Piconia 3.0, Prakaran, and first round of C-Suite 4.0, sponsored by Skilling India. Adding to our pomp and show, we organized our first TED Circle, a finance workshop, and today we welcome you to our third guest lecture of the Corporate Month. Every sector has faced unprecedented stress and challenges in the COVID-19 scenario. These challenges are not just limited to professional domain, but have pervaded to every area of life. It's over a year now that we are experiencing a drastic shift in our way of life due to pandemic. Being at home, adjusting to the situation of new normal. Along with adapting to the new situation, we need to keep an eye on the ongoing updates of the changing world. To help us craft our way in this new normal and cope with the change scenario, we have with us Mr. Gaurav Saxena, sir, Executive Vice President and Head in Strategy and Distribution Development at Aditya Birla Sun Life Insurance. Mr. Gaurav Saxena, sir, is a startup and distribution strategist who had set up large distribution networks for FMCG and insurance organizations. Sir is highly skilled in setting up new markets with commercial acumen for delivering profit improvements in fiercely competitive environment. He has formerly worked for ICICI Prudential Life Insurance Company as Vice President in Sales and Distribution. Over the year of his eminent career, Sir has been awarded with 100 top training and development minds by World HRD Congress and Time Ascent. Being a motivational speaker, we hope to receive your wisdom on how to get along with the changing environment and not miss our old ways. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Gaurav Saxena, sir, to take over. Sir, please.
Thank you very much, Anisha, for a very warm introduction. It felt like you were speaking about somebody else than me. So thanks for the kind words. And it's my pleasure to interact with each one of you, because when I see you guys, it feels like that I am back to where I used to belong a few years ago. And it really enthuses me that I am participating in a discussion with each one of you. What I've always believed is that the learning is mutual, and it is very important. It is very important for all of us to understand and see from an angle that all of us have to learn and grow together. Are you guys able to see the presentation at this point in time?
Yes, sir, we are able to.
Okay, great. So the topic today I want you to deliberate along with me is my favorite topic, and in the last 8-9 months, I have been witnessing this, wherein the game around me has suddenly changed, and I myself is grappling with the situation in terms of figuring out what all has changed with me. So when I looked at a quote, and I really found it very apt. It says, it's a quote from Socrates. It says that the secret of change is to focus all of your energy, not on fighting the old, but on building the new. And what better can the quote be than this situation where we are in because of COVID-19? Exactly a year ago, I was in London Business School completing my advanced program in management. The world was very rosy at that point in time. In fact, that time it was the discussions was more around how will the world economy change after the Brexit? How will situations change when the technology hits us in the next 3, 4, 5 years? The discussions were around populations which was aging. The discussions was around creating a new normal. And then there was a sudden news that in some part of China, Wuhan, there is a coronavirus which has propped up, and it's emerging as a big disease. And world was still normal, and we came back. We were all concentrating ourselves on our energies in terms of looking at businesses, and then there was March, which was fast approaching for all distribution guys like us. March is a huge month, and we were all set up in terms of really figuring out what can we do. And suddenly, our compliance team came back and said that there is a possibility of lockdown, and everybody will have to work from home. We said, working from home? What does that mean? Ours is an interactive industry. Ours is a customer facing industry. What do we do sitting at home? We want to go back and face the customer. But but that was the new normal. And we certainly had a very difficult time. And we were in a complete phase of denial. And then when I said that it's a new normal, what does this new normal has done? It has really changed the way people look. People look at each other in a very different way. Earlier, people used to come, meet, and hug each other. Today, if you touch any individual, it becomes a very difficult thing. There has been economic realignments. We are talking now about a V-shaped recovery. We are talking now about a U-shaped recovery. Some experts are even talking about a W-shaped recoveries. But nobody knows what is the new normal. We are still struggling. We want to know and work, and we hope that the recovery should be V. We are even fine with recovery to be U. But we ourselves are not sure as to what's happening. There's a new terminology which has got created. It talks about social distancing. It talks about the way one interacts with each other. It talks about the way one deals with individual. It talks about the new definition of workspaces. It talks about the new definition of commutation or commuting. So everything around us is changing, and the life is not exactly the same, or life is not the same as what it was a year ago. And I'm sure, like we had something called as BC, which was before Christ, then we have AD, then we had this Y2K problem, then we had some other thoughts. COVID-19 will go down in a history as one of the biggest change agents. And whenever there is a change, it is not very easy for people to adopt. And when you do a lot of change management theories, when you look at practices in the change management, you kind of realize that it is very difficult for an individual to adopt. Now, what will this new normal do? It is talking about economic impact. I'm sure each one of you would have heard that there is a huge economic contraction which has happened. Just to give you a perspective, 24%, 23.9% of the GDP in the country contracted in quarter 1 of this financial year, FY21. 24% contraction means that country could become a bankrupt country. Having said that, in the new normal, investments and exports demands were contracting and there were no buyers at all. And the bad debt of the banks were on the rise. So everything was negative, everything was booming. Against that, there was a new normal which was emerging. And the new normal was that suddenly the bank deposits started rising. And there was a flight to safety. Lot of people, wherever they had kept their money, they started putting up and stashing the money for savings for the next, for their future. And hence, the liquidity in the banks looked very, very sharply upward. That liquidity actually helped the stock market to rise. Now, on one side, you have a clear pandemic issue of goods and services movements not happening. The GDP is contracting. The investments and exports are contracting. You have loan defaults. Big corporates are not able to pay their money. On the other side, you see there is a huge amount of liquidity surging up, and there is a lot of money which is available in the market. It's a double whammy. It has never happened so sharply in the last 100 years of economy being there. But when we look at the rebound, the economy in the last 8-9 months, that was March, April. Now, slowly and steadily, the liquidity changed. If you see April, May, June onwards, the services started, activity started, and it started coming up to gradual level of pre-COVID. Trade also started normalizing. It reached to about 80-90% of what it used to be pre-COVID times. But then there is a recovery. Now, we can, economists call it a V-shaped recovery. And the world has never imagined that this V-shaped recovery would happen, but it is happening. And we ourselves weren't clear, why is it happening? Why the economy is going down like this? Yes, there was, because of the fears of coronavirus, the economy really went down and suddenly it started moving up. So there is a new normal which is getting created. There is a new disruption pattern which is getting created. And this disruption pattern is having a huge issue on individuals. Now, when we look at crisis, this is a crisis which got created. So on one side, everything is negative, money rising. On the other side, economy is rising, people sentiments are going down. So there has been a complete mismatch in terms of the available opportunity for every individual to really see as to where should he go. Shall he chase the money? No. If he chases the money, the sentiment is bad. He's losing out on his jobs. The economy is not doing well. If he is chasing the job, he's losing out on the money. There is so much of uncertainty which is happening. Plus, because of the coronavirus cases rising, there has been a lot of family distress as well. A lot of people have lost their near and dear ones. Though the mortality rate is only 1.5%, but if you have about close to about 90 lakh people who have got invested, who have got got infected because of this coronavirus. 1.5% is also about 1.5 lakh individuals not being with us, and this is creating a lot of pressure on the family structures, on individuals, and all of us. Now, with crisis, it comes. There's always been an opportunity in the crisis, and what is the opportunity which the environment is throwing? So certainly you have seen that digitization becomes important. I would just give you an example. 3 years ago, I went to IIM Kashipur to give a lecture, and for a 2 hour lecture, I traveled 2 days from Bombay. I went to Delhi, from Delhi to Kashipur, and then came back. Now, today we are interacting seamlessly on a digital platform. Earlier, we were all commuting. We were going from one meeting to another. Today, everything is happening seamlessly digital. I was reading and speaking to one of my professor in London Business School, and he did a research on the future of jobs. And as per the research, in the next decade, which is now coming, 50% of the jobs will be in the area of digitization across the country, across the world. 50% of the jobs will be in the digitization or maybe IT category. 30% of the jobs worldwide will be in the range of will be more to do with health and wellness of individuals. And manufacturing, which commands around 25-30% of the jobs, will shrink big time, and robots will take over the basic manufacturing. The balance 20% of the jobs will be all encapsulated there. So there is a change which is happening today. The other thing which is changing is individuals' productivity. We had seen that India is a poor country. Western world thinks so, that India is a poor country. We believe that we have got a higher manpower available, and hence we would be able to get away with lower productivities. If you see, there is a shift in productivity. People who are less productive or who do not diligently put forth themselves, or who do not invest in changing themselves depending upon the environment, they would kind of lose. They would kind of get left behind. And there is a constant change which we would have to experience in the coming decade. I don't know at this point in time that the change which has been inflicted by coronavirus new normal, will that last for 2 years, or would that last for a decade? I have no clue on it, but what I can see is that there will be a constant change. We will have to constantly keep acquiring new skills. If you ask me, what are the skills we want to acquire? I have no clue on that as well. But we will have to keep looking through our eyes and ears open in terms of finding out where the wave is going. We will have to quickly pick up those skills and move in that direction. Otherwise, this pandemic is going to leave us behind. If today we don't have digitization skills, we will have to imbibe those. If today our productivities are lesser, we will have to imbibe that. The new opportunities will emerge in terms of new markets, which is going to come up for us. What will be the markets? There is a realignment of economies which is happening. Earlier, what we used to call it as developed worlds might not be the developed worlds of the future. maybe countries which has got better productivity levels, countries which are more focused on the change management and digitization, they will grow faster than the older erstwhile developed nations. And hence, personally, I'm very bullish on India story, India as a country, India as an economy, and we have the right mix of agility and ability to really grow in the future. There are supply chain is also getting reorganized. Last year, we were talking about oil being the most disruptive because of the environment, pollution levels, and the other things. Having said that, it becomes very difficult at this point in time to talk about oil, because oil production hasn't come down, because oil continues to be used in certain segment which is required for the economy to flourish. And hence, certainly in the last 1 year, oil has not become such a big challenge. The challenges are something else. The challenge is hotel industry. The challenge is hospitality as a whole, which is tours, travels, and hotels. All this is changing. People are now looking at maybe different methods of recreations. People are now not now looking at maybe world in a very different phase. They earlier everybody wanted to go abroad, travel, and have a nice time together, but now it is changing. Will it remain so? I don't know, but yes, there is a huge opportunity which is coming up. So possibly hotels might not be the same in the format what they were earlier. Houses might not be the same as what they were earlier. Everything is bound to change around you and me. So if all this is happening, how do I manage this change? What you can do as an individual to manage this change? Now, change management is a process of an individual first accepting that there is a change. So when the change starts happening, everybody is in a denial mode. It says this is not going to affect my country or organization or myself. From denial, we move to frustration and hope. That frustrating session was there with me when I was in April. Oh, virus is impacting the whole world. What's going to be about me? What's about my family? And then there is a valley of despair, which is about depression. What is my health well-being? What about my jobs, my salary? How do I stop these essential services? How will the slowdown impact the economy? My sense is this phase for all of us is over. We've gone through our denial, frustration, and depression phase. Now is the time to accept the new normal. Now is the time to accept the COVID-19 realities. We need to figure out how should we change. What are the process and policies of changes in my organization? How can I empower myself? What tools I can adopt for work from home? And then I have to be ready with a commitment. I have to invest myself in learning. I have to understand and serve the communities, because that's also very important. And I have to look at and innovate my ways, new ways of working. Hence, it becomes very important for us to know that the change will happen around me. I have as an individual need to accept that there is a change which is going to happen. I am committed that this change will not impact me, because I will find out more agile ways of working. I have the confidence and skills in me to manage this change. I have an understanding and conviction to overcome this change, and I will reinforce with formal mechanism that I am adaptable to this change. Once I am able to adapt to these changes, I am able to survive better. I am part of the new normal, and I increase my longevity both in my career and in my life. So I need to respond, recover, and thrive in this pandemic. This change has come, that is behind us. There is a virus, we understand we need to protect ourselves and our families from that. But we don't have to go down the path and think that nothing is happening right for us. We have to respond to this very, very positively. We have to build empathy. We have to get ourselves in the shoes of our people, our employees, and enable them and understand from them that yes, there are problems which exist, and we should try and sort out their problems. We have to be empathetic. We have to be skilled, and skilling is a constant process. We need to stabilize our emotions in the organization whenever we are meeting any crisis. We need to be decisive in our actions. We should be able to take decisions with courage based on the imperfect information. Whenever I go and speak to students like you, I tell them that one thing you should learn always is your ability to make decisions in an ambiguous environment. Business is the most ambiguous thing which exists in the world today. You never know what is the next step. You might draw out all the conclusions, but your ability to take decisions when things are not correct around you will enable you more success than anything else. And you have to seize the opportunity. If you are proactive to change, if you are able to adjust to the new normal, I think the world is opening up for you. And world would be more beautiful from here on than previously it was. So what should be the skills for the new normal? Like I said, you've got to be conversant with technology, and because technology will assume a lot of significance. Now, everybody, if you see, 10 years ago, I downloaded WhatsApp, and I had a friend staying overseas. He says that WhatsApp is something which you should download. In that, you can transfer quick messages 10 years ago. Today, I am not able to visualize my life without a WhatsApp. Now, businesses are moving towards WhatsApp on the chat-based platform. There is a survey which was done a couple of quarters ago, and it articulated that Generation Z today only uses email for 12% of their transactions. For balance everything else, they use chat. Generation X still uses email to about 64%. Millennials use them for about 32%. That means email, which came in 25 years ago or something, is today becoming redundant. And you've seen technology, and technology is quickly making people redundant, and technology is assuming a huge significance in the world around us. And hence, if we are not technologically nimble, if we are not technologically proactive, we would have issues. The second point which I want to bring to you as skills of the new normal is out of the box thinking and flexibility. Now, you would find it as a very, very cliche statement that out of the box thinking. Now, what is out of the box thinking? And what is flexibility? See, out of the box thinking is nothing. It is just incremental thinking. Let's say if I have to go from point A to point B and it is going to take 1 hour for me to reach, can I incrementally do it better? Or within that hour, can I do 1.2 kilometers? Or can I do this 1 hour in 50 minutes? That's a very small example, but I'm saying that out of the box thinking is incremental thinking, wherein you as an individual decide to add value to any small thing, and that becomes the out of the box thinking, because it denotes your flexibility, it denotes your nimbleness towards the situation, and it also denotes your flexibility and understanding towards the situation. Friends, what new normal is teaching us is basically frugal mindset. You cannot survive with an approach of or a mindset that you will be living in a big empire. Frugal mindset is specifically important for organizations. I'm not talking about the bigger house or bigger palaces to live in. But what I'm talking about frugal mindset is that you have to be sure that whatever buck you are either using for your own personal self or you are using in the organization, you are putting that to 100% use. If you are taking up a project in any organization and if you have a budget of about 1 crore in that, you have to be sure that you are utilizing the money in the complete right earnest, that you are not wasting any single money out of that. And that's what I'm talking about, frugal mindset, because you never know where you require the money. You never know how long the lockdown will be there. You never know how the situation will change around you, and hence it becomes important for you to really use your resources practically and in the right way. Your EQ will have to take a front seat. Emotional quotient, everybody knows about it. Everybody has been talking about emotional quotient. What emotional quotient does for you is actually gives you an ability to take a balanced view. Because of this new normal, you can't take harsh calls. You have to have a balanced view in everything and anything you do, personally or for the organization. And mental resilience, because there is a lot which is happening around you. You have to stay focused. You have to stay where you are. You have to stay calm and focus on your own achievement of productivities, of thoughts, involving empathy, involving everyone for you to be able to take the things forward. From the organization's perspective, what employers are looking at employers are looking at flexibility, innovation, independent working, and talent building. What does this mean? Some of the times when we work with new people like you, we find that they come with fixed mindsets. It is very important when you are starting your career to be open to learn everything and anything which comes your way. Because at that point in time, those are your foundation years. During those foundation years, The employer is looking at you, that how flexible you are, how innovative you are, how independently I can give you a task and you would be able to move. How can I build onto your talent? Like you need great careers. Organization need people like you to build great careers within them. And hence it the starting point becomes very important for you to know your stuff properly, to show your skills to the organization and to gain experience. You have to see in that light that corporation is looking at these qualities, and I will bring these qualities to the organization, and we will have a perfect marriage. I want to end here by giving you this quote, and I really liked it. So just spend about 30 seconds in this and be with me on this quote. Normal is never going to be static. It's elusive. We are constantly chasing it. The minute we think we have found it, something often comes along that shifts it. So what we need to do is to learn to be comfortable in the in-between. I repeat, normal is never going to be static. It's elusive. We are constantly chasing it. The minute we think we have found it, something often comes up that shifts it. So what we need to do is to learn to be comfortable in the in-between. With that, I open the discussion. I open the session for question answer, because it is important from the perspective of an individual and you to be able to really scale up the thought process. This change is which has been brought in because of coronavirus will have some permanent shifts, and these permanent shifts will going to change the way the world looks at organizations, how the world looks at people, how the world looks at situations. So everything around us is subject to change. And since you would be the change makers, you will be at the center of everything, and hence it becomes very, very important for you to stay calm and embrace the change, whatever is coming at you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for such an informative session. Now I open the floor for questions from the audience. Participants are requested to please their queries in the chat box so that our guests can answer the queries. So I do have one question. That in this situation, the pandemic came in, and there was totally a roadblock, and we didn't think of.
Is that Anisha? I'm not able to hear you. Is I'm the only one, or has everybody not been able to hear Anisha?
Audible now?
Anisha, I can hear you now. I was not able to hear you for the last 30
Yes,
seconds.
sir. So I had a question. Since the pandemic came in and there was a complete roadblock stuck in, and in that situation, we were not able to go or do something. So when can we think in that perspective to do something, that if we don't have anything in that course?
Great question, Anisha. Whenever you feel that there is a door which is closed, or there is a roadblock which is there completely, first and foremost, you always have to see that there are 4 walls. So at least there are 4 doors which are available. Now all the doors are hidden. You don't know where the door is going to get open. So if there is a door which is closed, you have to try something else. Now when I say try something else, is that You have to redefine your skills and you have to see what you are good at and possibly restart that. And once you are able to restart that, definitely there is some door which opens up and then there's a new direction which comes up. Yeah. So, Anisha, I hope I have answered, or you have the second part of the question as well.
No, sir, you answered my question.
Okay.
Sir, so we have one more question from Akash. In the recent monetary policy meeting, RBI governor was mentioning about shaped recovery. Could you please briefly explain that or mention about it?
Yeah. So, so what? So what RBI governor today also had come back and he has said that India is in deep recession. 7.5% contraction of economy has happened in this quarter as well, the quarter two, which has gone bad. So what's happening today is that there is, when you say that there is a V-shaped recovery, that means there is a depression and it comes back. When you say there is a K-shaped recovery, that means there are some industries which are going to have a very, very high growth trajectory, and then some industries which are going to go down big time. Now, when they say that some of the industries which are going to get impacted hugely, the industries which are today getting impacted are hotels. Whenever you have a discretionary spend, so I would just explain the discretionary spend. So you have hotels, hospitals, goods, clothes, which are more discretionary in nature. All of them are actually going down, and then they are going to go up. Some of the organizations which are having complete quick recovery, those organizations are like pharma, which is because of this pandemic. You have you have the IT industry, which is really going up. Banking, because of the high amount of liquidity, is really, really going up. Then you have other opportunities like media. Media is really going up. So today the economy is getting divided into haves and have-nots, and that's where RBI governor is talking about that some of the industries are going to recover faster than some of the industry do not even have a do not see the deal do not have a time frame in which they would have a recovery. Yeah, Anisha, thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have one more question from Rahul. Many economists are also predicting that there will be K-shaped recovery. What are your thoughts on that, sir?
Sorry, your voice is a little. It's actually. I'm not able to hear you. But does the question is in the chat box?
Yes, sir.
It's by Rahul. Okay, Rahul says many economists are also predicting that there would be K-shaped recovery. What are the thoughts on this? So I talked about this K-shape. Rahul, you have another question on this?
No, sir, that was my question.
K-shaped recovery, yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
I responded on that.
Yes, sir, you just talked about that.
Yeah. Yeah, Nisha.
Yeah, sir, we have one more question from Shubham. So, in your experience,
Okay, I think Anisha's. I will read that out for you, Anisha. Shubham says, in your experience, how were you able to master the art of change? So, very interesting question, Shubham. And incidentally, when I was growing up in my career, I was also awarded as ICICI Group Young Leaders Award for Managing Change. Now, whenever there has been change, and I have learned this by way of changing my roles every 2 years, every 3 years. I haven't done a role consistently for 8 years, 10 years, 20 years. So I believe that you take up a job complete that job to fullest, and then move on to the next job. This habit of mine has enabled me to learn various different roles, various different changes, and also I have moved cities. So I have stayed in a city for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, then moved and stayed in another city for 4 5 years, and then moved to further city. So personally, by way of moving places, I've been able to adapt to change, and in an organization, by way of changing roles, I've been able to adapt to change. Yeah, Shubham, I hope I have answered you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for that. I actually had a follow-up on it.
Yeah, ask me.
So you talked about the concept of agility, right? Like how important that is. And a lot of times what happens is like, so I guess there's a disturbance from your side. Is it okay if you go on mute so that
If
we
I
can
go
talk?
on mute, yeah,
Yes, sir.
I do.
Thank you so much, sir. All right. So, the fact that for us as youngsters, we tend to get a challenge in front of us, and then there's this barrier that comes in our mind that that like that barrier would mostly stop like the majority of us to go ahead and do something. The fact that agility comes into picture, you come up and you break that barrier, and then you try to be so agile that you're able to do multiple things at once. You be more and more flexible. So how would like someone at my age who is doing his masters in marketing right now, how would I work on being more agile and break those barriers that sort of restricts me from you know going like reaching my potential?
Sir will be joining shortly.
Sorry, I got dropped, but I heard you. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, see, Shubham, in my opinion, when you say sales and marketing, you and agility, now you have to look at what has changed. You are majority of the people still are looking at sales and marketing as a function of relationship building and selling face to face. But world has changed in the last 1 year. Sales is happening. Yes, it is happening. Has the speed changed? Yes, it has changed. Today, if you read the newspaper, it said that Amazon and Flipkart had a ball of their time in on the billion-dollar sales. They had huge crores of money which is coming up. So sales is happening. A lot of industries are really selling the stuff. So what I'm saying is that you have to be agile. Agility doesn't mean that you have to go run after it. Agility means mental agility. That you have to be agile and see what's happening around you. And how can you change the situation and be part of the change? Now, if you say that the methodology of sales is more digital in nature, you would also have to see that how equipped are you to sell digitally? What products are you choosing which requires digital enablement? Are you comfortable in terms of reaching out to individuals digitally? Are you able to build a relationship over a conversation digitally, not physically? And believe me, people at my age are struggling to do this. But I think that's an advantage for you because the new normal for you is digital. The new normal for us when I started up my job at 22 years ago was more physical in nature. We did not even had cell phones at that point in time. Yeah. So I'm saying the agility is to be able to understand and adapt change and be cognizant of the fact that there is a change which is happening and I have to imbibe that change.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, we have one more question from Shitanshu.
Yeah.
Thinking about the current scenario and with change in GDP, with 23.9% initially, service industry was at boom. But now, hotels and aviation industry has been hit hard. So what can be the future with respect to hospitality sector?
Hospitality sector. Uh, so there is a new round of wave which is going on in the hospitality sector. It is more collaborative in nature. It is more, so there is a realignment which is happening. People have suddenly become very, very conscious of the fact that the way they travel, the way they stay, and the way they interact with people. So hospitality industry is also imbibing this change. I'm sure you guys have seen the new Olas and new cabs, wherein you have a shield between the driver as well as the passenger. Earlier, we used to sit 5 people in the car. Possibly the new normal is only 2 people when you are taking a taxi. So things are changing. So hospitality industry is also taking time to do this. There is a more sanitization mechanism which those people are taking for inviting guests and reassuring guests that everything what they do is compliant with the sanitization processes. So there is a change, and those hotels and chains which are able to adopt to this change will survive. People, chains, hotels, airlines, which would not be able to adopt to this change will not survive. This pandemic is a clear-cut indication of a new world realignment. Some of the organizations will cease to exist in this pandemic, and some of the organizations will grow leaps and bounds. The only difference will be adaptability in both the organizations. Yeah.
So I hope you have answered Sitanshu's question. We have one more question from Aman. With the growth of automation, and we also about to witness the entry of robots as well as manufacturing sector, how are the growth opportunities for the semi-skilled worker and how will the nation going to better from unemployment?
So, as I mentioned that manufacturing is here to stay and grow. Will manufacturing sector employ more individuals? That's a question that needs to be answered. But consumption, India is a consumption-led economy, and hence manufacturing will have to be there. With the world realignment happening, wherein people are or countries are wary of importing goods from China, there is a lot of focus on goods which India has to produce. Now, if India has to produce even 20-30% of what they were importing, that means the manufacturing sector has to stay. Now, you also have to look at one of the points in my presentation, which I talked about productivity. Productivity of a robot in a manufacturing sector is better than a human interface. Human have issues of EQ, IQ, as well as maybe sometimes other issues which surround the human being. You can program the robot to do the manufacturing, and hence wherever there will be a pressure on the cost. So if there were 20 people running a manufacturing unit, possibly 10 people will be running with 10 robots and more efficiently. So there is a new world realignment which is happening. The second part of the question of yours was semi-skilled workers. Everybody today is either semi-skilled or unskilled. Hence, they have to keep upgrading their skills. No skills today are relevant. The most relevant skill today is a survival skill. And what does the survival skill teaches us? Survival skill teaches us that if I'm in the middle of a pandemic or middle of so much of change around me, how can I adapt to change? How can I learn new things? If I am a MBA in marketing, how can I understand finance better? If I am a finance professional, how can I understand sales better? If I am a carpenter, how should I learn maybe being a overall contractor, or maybe learning of being a plumber? So you have to have cross-functional skills which have to be relevant for the time, and hence it becomes very, very difficult at this point in time to define what the skills you have. So everybody has to keep upskilling themselves, be it a semi-skilled worker or an unskilled worker. They have to constantly keep defining their skills for them to be able to survive. Yeah, Anisha.
Thank you, sir. As we are coming to the end of the lecture, we have one more last question from Siddhartha. In the COVID period, MSME sector has gone severe downfall. What should be the necessary steps for these MSME sectors to be taken? Can you please brief?
So MSME sector is basically largely defined as micro and small and medium enterprises. You would again, the question is about the change management. So a very large organization which was producing tractors started producing face masks when there was a need to change, because nobody was buying tractors, but people were buying face masks. So there was a change on the business model they had to undergo. MSME sector today is struggling with two things. The first struggle is their ability to generate loans, as in generate capital for their survival. B is per se the business model itself. MSMEs which has been able to realign their business towards the new normal has been able to succeed. Just to give you an example, small and medium enterprises in the field of IT services are growing rapidly. There is a huge startup ecosystem which is getting created on IT, fintech, insurtech, farm tech, and also pharma tech. All this is getting created. Clinical sciences or clinical testing is going through the roof. But let's say there has been MSMEs in the area of nuts and bolts creation, MSMEs in the format of maybe creating plastic bottles or creating something else. They will have to consciously look at their business model and change. Possibly somebody who was making a plastic straw for being used in McDonald's or something, suddenly the world has changed. Now it is a paper straw. You have to change. And that change is causing a lot of pressure on the MSME segment. And hence, my thought process is that we are in the middle of change. We have to adopt change. And we have to quickly think what's going to come and hit us next. And we have to be ready today.
Thank you, sir. This has been truly a motivational experience. I believe our audience has thoroughly enjoyed the session and taking back with them some food for thought. Lastly, on behalf of Club Prayas, I would like to extend hearty vote of thanks to you, sir, for your valuable time. I would like to thank our coverage partner, Newswire, and our promotional partner, IBS Messenger. Last but not the least, I would like to thank our audience for being such patient listeners. Club Prayas will keep bringing such informative and memorable experiences in the future too. Till then, stay healthy, stay safe. Thank you, Anisha, signing off.
Thank you, Anisha. Thanks, everyone. Pleasure to be part of Prayas. Thank you.